What's up, nerds? Welcome back, Cool Nerd Show. This is just a Spoilercast. It's not I was gonna say an episode, but no. As always, I am Steve Trezza, joined by Scap Burnett.
Hello.
And today we're talking Spoilercast for Stranger Things Season 4.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Much better spoiler cast than our previous spoiler casts.
Yeah, that's true.
Where'd
Well,
chat go?
What did we do? Our other Spoilercast we did Boba Fett. We did Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah, I was just talking about our last one.
Yeah.
Or Obi-Wan one.
The Obi-Wan one.
What's up, Crimson? Long time no talk.
Scott, how was your weekend? How was
good.
your holiday weekend?
It was good. I did a whole lot of nothing, whole lot of eating takeout, whole lot of destroying my diet. You know,
Nice.
how the founding fathers wanted it to be.
I had pizza yesterday. It was great. I still have some leftover.
I had, oh God, I don't know what I had. I had so much food. I don't even want to talk about it. I think I'm just gonna get transient calories from just talking about it.
The sound of that.
DD2, what's going on? Thank you for following.
You're making me blush, man.
And also, Devin, what's up? Devin, just coming in right in. I didn't think season 4 was going to be good, and I was very happily surprised.
He likes to keep people in suspense to let us know his thoughts on the show.
You know, when I was coming into season 4, I wasn't very high on Stranger Things either coming into season 4, and then I was kind of just like, you know what, let's give it I didn't watch it the day it came out. Probably let it sit for like a week.
Me too, yeah.
And then I started watching. I think you actually told me you thought it was the best Stranger Things at the time, and I was like, well, I find that hard to believe, but at least this is good news. So I started watching it, and I was also surprised. I thought this season was great.
Yeah, Stranger Things for me was always like that. It was like an event, right? That I would always like make time to watch. But once it was over, I was just kind of like, you know, it was out of my mind.
Yeah.
Right. It never like really stuck with me. And then finally they started putting like a button on it on this one. And I was like, oh, fuck, I get it now. I like this now. And then I'm going back and I'm rewatching the whole series, like picking stuff out. It's like, oh, this is really well thought out. And I don't know if they're pulling like one of those American Horror Stories where they just like, oh, we can connect it this way, right? Later on.
Yeah.
Where they just kind of like, you know, stretch a little bit, make a little connective tissue, or they had an idea throughout the whole series. And then they're like really executing it well. I find that a little hard to believe, or I'm just real cynical. But I want to think that they had this shit all planned out. They didn't like stumble onto this like really cohesive story from beginning to end.
See, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like I thought season 4 was going to be the last season. I thought I heard that somewhere, but now I'm hearing season 5.
Yeah. They always wanted a 5th season, I think.
Okay, well that's good then. I hope they stop there. I hope they don't do it until like
they
runs out.
They planned on, you know? 5. I think that was always the plan was 5, and that's it. Sort of like Breaking Bad.
Okay, for some reason I thought it was 4, but that's fine. I'm happy with one more.
From whatever it was, they had an end in mind. So that's how the best shows are made, anyway.
For the most part, yes.
Yeah,
agreed.
I know where it ends. I want this to end here.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go over we'll give our overall thoughts of what we thought about the season. We'll talk a little bit of the plot, some of the direction, maybe some technical things, who was like good acting, what we liked best about the season, what we didn't like about the season, and then we'll have some theories for you guys for what's coming in season 5. So before we get into all of that, if you haven't already, you can join the Cool Nerd Discord and you can chat with us, game with us. We might be doing, maybe in the future we can do another like community game day like we did for
that was fun.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah. When there's like we could probably do like a Fall Guys one actually with
a Fallout. Fallout 76.
Fallout 76 is the thing. And then also you can follow us on Twitch and YouTube. Twitch.tv/Resonator, Twitch.tv/ThickFlare4Cs. And we're also available on podcast apps everywhere. So with that, Scott, what was your overall? We kind of gave a little bit about what we thought about season 4, but
Yeah.
like overall, how do you feel about Stranger Things season 4?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think that it falls into that must watch kind of category, and like it was always really popular, but I feel like this season was like way more popular than the other ones. Maybe it's just TikTok, and TikTok is just curating. They're like, here's all the Stranger Things stuff you could possibly want to look at. So to me, it's like, holy shit, this is way more popular. Maybe it was always as popular. I don't know,
Now, it's
but it
always.
just
I think
feels
it's
like,
always been pretty popular.
oh yeah, but I think this like kind of went to that next level, like that. Like if this came out weekly, people would talk about this shit like Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Like there would be like that water cooler talk, like holy shit, did you see that last episode? Like, but like, which I honestly think this show would fucking thrive on a weekly release basis.
you think so?
Like, absolutely. Like I love the instant gratification part of me loves like, ooh, I could just hit next episode and
Yeah,
you
same.
know
I love being
that.
able to just stream it and binge it.
But that like month break that they took, right? They could have just filled it with other episodes and
Yeah,
just done an episode a week and not taken the month off, and it still would have ended at the same time. So it's like it was weird. Like here's 7 episodes, and then wait a month, and here's 2 episodes that are the length of a really long movie. Have
yeah.
at it. It was
That
an odd release schedule, but I feel like they could dominate more like pop culture if they do it weekly, especially in the last season.
See, I thought it was very smart of them to do the way they did, where they released the 6 and then or was it 7? 7 and then 2, right? Yeah.
7 and 2, yeah.
7 and then 2. And then in between that, they released Umbrella Academy, which I
Yeah.
know hit number 1. So I know it was like that was like what they were given people in those like 3 weeks or whatever that they didn't have
Oh
Stranger
yeah.
Things. Um
Yeah, good point.
so I think that's what they were kind of going for, and I mean they got me. But yeah, I didn't mind the waiting. I when I did finish the first 7 episodes, I did want to watch the final 2. But
Yeah.
those last 2 episodes were good. I do think the last episode was a little long. I think it was a little too much. They could have cut some things, made it a little shorter. That's like
Yeah, I think
one of my only gripes, and we'll get into that when we start getting like
yeah,
actually
I
into the
think
story and whatnot.
if I had to get like ding it on something, I feel like it was a misuse of all the time they had a little bit
Yep,
sometimes.
yep, I agree.
Like there's some stuff that I would have rather spent more time with than what we did, right? Like not to put the cart in front of the horse, but um I would have liked to see more people impacted by Eddie's death than just like one person. Although that leads into one of my theories later, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But while we're on the subject, I didn't think I was going to like Eddie as much as I did. When I first saw him, I was like, who is this 40-year-old man in high school with these kids? And by the end of it, by God, I fucking loved that guy.
I mean, like as a metal kid growing up and like who listened to all this type of stuff, I was like, this guy's the fucking man.
Yeah.
And they really nailed down that whole like just like the metal culture and the metal genre of like these kids are like, yeah, they listen to Iron Maiden and shit, but they also play D&D. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So immediately when I saw him, I'm like, yeah, this guy is like my new favorite character. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Mm, question mark.
Question mark. So we get the plot. The plot mainly of this episode or this season is we got a lot of backstory on Eleven's past, and we get introduced to Vecna, also known as Number One, also known as
Henry
Henry.
Creel.
Yeah.
Man of many hats.
Who was introduced as the villain, and as the villain, um we've discovered that he kind of is the one that was like pulling the strings in the Upside Down this whole time.
The master of puppets, if you will.
Yes, of course. And then we also have with Eleven's past, like she was kind of the one that created him. And then we also got introduced to Eddie, rest in peace. And that's all I really wrote for the plot. I probably should have wrote something a little bit more, but
Yeah,
it's
so
going off the top of my head. And I was like, yeah, this is basically,
so it turns out that Vecna just needs 4 kills to open Hawkins up to the Upside Down. So the Upside Down spills into the real world. I like that it does go into season 3 a little bit, and it doesn't overtly tell you about it, but if you kind of like think a little bit back to season 3, because it was bothering me when I was like, how come he hasn't been around, you know, all this time?
technically, isn't he
And
also the mind flayer, or he like controls the mind flayer?
so
So,
he absorbed the mind flayer, or he absorbed like the upside down cloud.
okay.
So that's how he got his extra powers, right? He was already pretty powerful when he got sent into the upside down, but he absorbed whatever upside down cloud that was, which then he was able to control all these creatures, which he let them do his bidding for them. And that's why he was making the goopy mind flayer at the end of season 3, right? Because he wanted to kill 11. And when Vecna kills, he consumes. So he wanted her powers. So when the mind flayer bit her, it took her powers. And that's how he was able to really start fucking shit up, because he didn't have her powers till then. And I was like, oh, that makes way more sense than for him to just be like, I'm gonna attack now. Now's the time. Right. But like he was biding his time and like manipulating the people in the town and stuff. And then he finally was able to strike, and then they lost.
I
Yeah,
know.
they lost at the end, which
Well,
was cool.
kinda. Yes and no. They
I
lost,
mean,
but like
Vecna,
it was close. Vecna's not dead. He's still alive, and he
no,
broke into the regular
yeah,
world, normal world.
he succeeded. His plan succeeded. I shouldn't say
Yes,
they lost,
yes,
but he succeeded. And that's going to be a wild continuation of that. The upside
yeah.
down in Hawkins. I like I like how the people are still um kind of oblivious. They're like, it's a demon cult that
Like
opened this up.
they
It's
still
like
have to. Yeah, they still have to
like
like
how do you
keep
explain
this
that?
level of realism in the show, which is just ridiculous. Which is how I knew Eddie was gonna die too, because I was like, you can't. The way they set up his character, like he couldn't go back to normal life because no one's gonna believe
Yeah.
that he was, that he was innocent or whatever with like no real proof.
Yeah.
Because the only way they'd get real proof if this like Vecna shows up in the real world, and then that would just be like stupid. That would be like real
Yeah.
corny and bad writing.
But I mean, now I guess now he can though.
He
I
can,
mean, if
but
it's
I don't know
the upside
because
down Hawkins.
we've always like remember we had the lady that was eating shit in like season.
Yeah.
What was it, season 2? Was that was happening? She was
3,
like,
that's 3. The
was it
old lady in the
3?
basement eating
Yeah,
shit,
she
yeah.
eating the manure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So like we've had these crossovers into the real world, but it's like subtle and people don't really
I
like
forgot the
the
explanation
general
for that, but I think
public.
it was like fuel the mind flayer thing, because like they were
Yeah.
all eating shit for the mind flayer. I remember. But
Join the mind flayer cult. We eat shit.
yeah, it's a good it looks good on a flyer.
Um, but that's how I knew that Eddie was going to kick it, because I was like, all right, well, like
Yeah.
it makes sense. I feel like they've wrote this character into a corner, and there's not really anywhere they could go with him from there.
He's very
So
popular, and I think that there's a pretty cool way they can do some writing gymnastics to get him back, but we'll talk about that, I guess, in the theory part of it.
okay.
But if we're gonna stay back with the actual story, I think the majority of the cast acted their fucking asses off this season,
I
with the exception of a
completely
couple.
agree. Who's your couple?
I I think Mike forgot how to act in the Upside Down or something. Like he lost it somewhere. Like I think
He
I
was
mean, or
actually
maybe he
probably the weakest of the kids, I think.
yeah. Like I
They-
think that like maybe everybody just kind of passed him,
yeah. They didn't give him, I
but
feel like he didn't have a lot of screen time either. And he was
yeah.
kind of like almost like I mean, 11 is always like the star, but he was kind of like
Yeah.
number 2, you know,
He was like the leader of the group, but I
yeah,
really think Dustin and Lucas outshone everybody else in that group. I think
yeah.
not not because the actor who plays Will for lack of trying. I just don't think he had a lot to do.
He never really has a lot to
Which
do. Every season, he's kind of like
well, I mean, he was the focal
strapped to the
point of
upside
one.
down. Yeah,
Yeah, or like I like in two I'm rewatching, and he's kind of really compelling in that because has those episodes where he like slips into the upside down, and he's like sick still because he was in the upside down so long.
yeah, and
And
he
I I think there'll be more for him to do in five if I can again theory craft a little later. But I think Lucas acted his ass off, and I think Dustin acted his ass off. I think Steve Harrington acted his ass off. Eddie, Robin, Nat,
Nancy.
Nancy.
Yeah,
Kevin said, I have a theory that when they casted Finn, they thought he would have been a better actor like Millie Bobby Brown, and he's not as good, so they lessened his role. I mean, maybe that, or he was kind of caught up between that and filming Ghostbusters at the time.
that's
He could
true.
have just
But
could have been a scheduling thing.
he wasn't bad in the past seasons though.
Yeah,
You know, I
maybe
mean,
he
I'm not
just
saying he was
wasn't.
fantastic, but
Maybe he just
I don't
wasn't
know.
given a lot to do. There was the one scene in the pizza joint where he had to convince Elle that he loves her,
Yeah,
which
but
was
that was also kind of like Will, you know, that was like pushing him to do that,
yeah.
which I think Will
Poor Will.
for what he's given acted great, and like
Yeah,
his part in this season was great because he's like, I mean, he's fucked up. He's been in the upside down like what,
yeah.
twice. He's been like possessed by fucking monsters and shit, and like it makes sense that
And he loves his best friend now, and his best
he
friend's
does.
oblivious.
Yes. That was I was going to bring that up too, is like how is Mike just completely oblivious to Will's feelings?
I think that scene with him and Jonathan, that heart to heart they had, where he
That
was
was a good scene.
talking about like, oh man, now a lot of this gets really specific in this season too. I'm just like, holy shit! I'm like, I cried a fair bit at the last couple episodes. I was like, God damn this show, man! It got season 3 got me with
It's
Hopper's
getting
letter.
you.
Damn, man, when Hopper and Elle saw each other again, fuck! I had to check the air
And
filters in my apartment. There was a lot of dust in the air.
Jonathan too didn't really have that big of a part in this
Yeah. Poor
season.
Jonathan too. All of a
Yeah.
sudden Nance is like, I like Steve again.
I mean, do you blame her?
Like I get it, but like I'm watching season 2 and she's like, I don't like Steve, I like Jonathan. It's like, okay, fucking pick one. I mean, Jonathan's just a stoner with Argyle and stuff, which is I mean,
That's true.
I actually like Argyle a lot.
How can you not? The
Yeah.
lovable stoner character.
I saw a GIF or a TikTok. It was like this guy professionally twirling pizza, and
Mm.
it was like Argyle while 11 gets ready to save the world because he's making that
Yeah, he's
pizza
making
while
the
she's
pizza.
getting out.
One thing I wanted to talk about with, I guess this is kind of falls under like the direction of the show, which I thought overall was pretty great. But the last episode was really the only thing that I had issues with, and where I mainly had issues was with we get this like Vecna like revealing his plan multiple times and like taking his time to kill Max and to
Oh
like
yeah, no,
enact his
Vecna.
plan. And it was like, we did this already like 2 times and you're still doing it and it's just dragging. And that was the only time where I was like, do we need to keep going here? Like it's like, my plan is coming into fruition. And he just
He
like,
takes his sweet ass time.
yeah.
Hey,
And
you know
it's
what? He's
like, well,
got to
no
unfurl
wonder.
that big fucking hand. It takes a while. The giant hand.
Yeah.
He's got to do the thing, and he's got to savor it. He's a bad guy.
So if we're talking about things I dislike, that was the one thing I was kind of like, we fucking get it. Like, get
Yeah.
on with
But I
it.
also
I've been watching this for an hour and a half. You know,
I do
like,
like the mythos that they developed with the Upside Down, where it was kind of like nothing before it before he got there.
It was
It
just this
was like a
dead
it
realm.
was
I
like a
do like that.
void.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think that it wasn't it didn't become the Hawkins upside down like we know until 11 opened up the original gate from the first season,
Hmm.
and Vecna kind of got a glimpse of the other side because he was kind of trapped he was trapped in that lab his whole life, and then he finally saw the outside, and then he developed it into what he saw. Because why else would it be stuck in 1983?
Yeah, it makes
Like
sense.
it was basically like a screenshot of what he saw when he kind of like got a glimpse back through the gate.
He screen grabbed it.
Yeah, right. He hit print
It's
screen real
like,
quick, and he's like,
ah,
ah. He started playing The Sims, and he started making the upside down.
it's like it's not
Really
perfect,
interesting
but it'll
how
do.
yeah, it's got tentacles that squelch wetly and whatever if you watch it with the subtitles on.
Wet squelch.
But it's also interesting how the mind flayer is why it's a spider, because he had an obsession with Black Widows too. So it's like it all kind of comes back together.
Um, and then the only thing technical that I realized that was not that I disliked, like, because I thought the CGI looked great for the most part.
Yeah.
But why did they CGI Hopper's scars at the end? That looked weird to me.
Oh, I didn't really notice it.
Yeah, I noticed it.
Maybe I wasn't looking at his scars. Maybe I was looking at his fucking abs.
But like
Although,
he did look great. Um,
although I prefer Fat Hop from season 3. I'm not gonna lie.
well, I mean, come on, he's been in a prison for how long?
Yeah, imagine
Eating gruel.
like, right. And God bless Joyce for fucking slapping one on him after months in a Russian prison
Yeah.
eating gruel. His mouth must have been jumping. Holy shit! Like that's just straight up another ass on his body. It must have. It must have smelled awful.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
think
Kev, I was telling everybody about that too. They didn't finish some shots on time, and they uploaded them to Netflix's servers late. So if you watched it right away, some shots weren't the final pass.
really.
So like, yeah, if you like watch it again now, some shot. I don't know which ones. I don't know if they'll ever say
I
it.
watched like a day
There's
after,
some
so
yeah,
it's probably
some
fine.
eagle-eyed person might have it might be on the internet somewhere, but yeah, if you watched it right away, that some of the shots might have looked a little unfinished and
Who
stuff.
are these people that are like watching it like on repeat to see if things are changing? You
I
know?
mean, it's the internet, man.
Yeah, I guess.
Who knows? But I mean, once I get to season 4, I'll watch it again because
That's
I'm on
true.
season 2 again.
Did you watch it immediately when it came out?
We watched it like the night of.
Okay. Yeah, I watched
Like
it.
it was
I
like
think I
8
watched it
o'clock the night it came out.
Saturday. It came out Friday. I think I watched it Saturday night.
I knew
I
there was
did.
gonna be some crazy spoilers, so I wanted to get it in as soon as possible.
Yeah, I just stayed off the internet for the most part.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Nothing was ruined for
I
me.
have a problem. I'm on
Uh,
TikTok too much.
is there anything else you want to talk about in terms of like the story, in terms of what you didn't like, what you disliked? Because then, if not, we'll just get right into spoilers here,
Yeah, I mean, as
or not
far as the
spoilers, but
story,
theories. I'm sorry.
yeah, I think this is probably the strongest story they've told throughout these. And I think it's the most that's happened in their stories.
Yeah, I
So
would
a
say.
lot of the other seasons are kind of like maybe one or two things that take a little while to unravel. This did take had this thing it had some threads that took a while to unravel, but
Mhm.
it had a lot of things that happened and a lot of them good. I can't really find an episode where I was like, "Oh, that one was dull. That one felt like filler." Like
Mm.
everything kind of some stuff did drag a little bit, and maybe like I feel like that time could have been used elsewhere, but I don't think they wasted my time as a viewer.
I agree.
There wasn't like, I could have done without that. It's like, no, I think everything was kind of integral to where they were going,
There
and
wasn't
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
3 setup episodes to a 5 second payoff.
3 episodes setups in a 6 episode TV
Yeah,
series.
looking at you, Obi-Wan.
Hello there.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. I think it was pretty for the most part, like it was action packed. It was packed with lore. It was packed with stuff I
The
didn't even
lore
know
stuff
that I
got me. I'm
wanted.
a fucking
Yeah,
sucker for that. I'm like, ooh,
same.
give me more upside down knowledge, which I
And
think season 5
it was
is
a
going
lot
to
of
be a
world
lot
building.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did,
Surprisingly, in the 4th season of a show, they're like, oh, maybe we should build this world
yeah,
we've been
exactly.
talking so much about.
Which is kind of why when I went into it, I was like on it cuz I was like, well,
Yeah.
season 2 and 3 I liked, but they weren't great. Like they were
That's why
good,
going
but
back,
they
it's
weren't
really good
great.
because
Yeah.
they had all this world building in 4, and I'm like, oh, okay, I got it.
So,
Also,
yeah.
Paul Reiser's great, and he's in these seasons a lot more, and he's
Yeah,
great.
he is good. Everyone, I
He's
feel like
also in the
everyone's good.
he's in The Boys actually as well. Plays a pretty
Y-
decent part in The Boys.
Yeah, I still have to pick up The Boys season 3.
Yeah, he's in the 2 best TV shows out there now. Paul Reiser Renaissance, the Paul Reiser Sance. It's happening.
If there was one storyline that I was meh about, it was probably like the Jock storyline. Like I was just,
Yeah,
I feel like they probably could have cut that,
yeah.
and
Although it
no
was
one
so
would care really.
satisfying. It was so satisfying when he fucking died, though. Come
Yeah,
on. I'll take it. I don't care. But I mean,
just gets burned right in half.
I think they were also integral to the Satanic Panic aspect of it from the 80s, right? Like it would be weird if the parents got their pitchforks and shit and started attacking a D&D club, but like maybe an impressionable teenager was more believable to fill that role.
Yeah,
And he's also just like it's like 80s tropes galore, right? That's their whole thing. It's like that's the guy, that's the bully.
yeah.
That's the guy from Revenge of the Nerds, right? The Letterman jacket and like Papa's gun and, but oh, and if we're gonna go, we're already talking about spoilers. Remember when Lucas has a hangover and he goes, "Yeah, your first hangover feels like you're split in two," and then he got split
And
in
he gets
two
split in
when he
two.
died.
Wow.
Fucking great.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I'm just saying in terms of all the stories, it
Yeah,
was hands down the weakest.
yeah. If you had to pick one.
Yeah.
Also, there was some cool, you know, similarities to one the way Vecna and Billy both their body language. Billy stands like Vecna in season 3, and when he has Max pinned down or 11 pinned down, he says the same thing Vecna says to her in the dream in the last episode. He goes, "Try to lay still. This will all be over soon." Like they say the exact same thing.
Hmm.
So you got to believe that Vecna was there the whole time, right? I just think that the connective threads back to the old seasons are so good, and I guess it's just a cue to their good writing that it makes the old stuff better. I feel like I'm gushing over this, but I'm just glad I like something, right? I've spent so many of these fucking things just mad. I'm just like, that sucked, and I don't want to be like that anymore. I'm trying to turn a new leaf, but Stranger Things got me. Stranger Things was good, and I'm glad it was.
What all right, let's get into theories. So what are some theories?
Yeah.
I have like some questions. You're more the
Okay.
theory man.
Okay.
So
I might be able to answer them, but
hit me with some of your theories unless you want me to just ask what I have going on.
I'm just okay. So I'll theorize a little bit about the structure of season 5,
Yeah.
and then I'll save my big one for last.
Okay.
So I think 11 saves Max at the end, or tries to. She saves her body. Because Max
My first
kind of
question
got
was what do you think is going to happen to Max?
half
So.
vected. I think we're gonna learn so much about the Upside Down because we're gonna get almost like a Magic School Bus type episode where 11 has to go into Vecna's mind, maybe even take the crew with her to save Max, because consumes all his victims.
Mhm.
He got her basically her mind and her soul without her body
Yeah.
because
That's
he
kind of
didn't
what I
kill her
took away
yet.
from that too.
She pulled it out just in time, and she's gonna have to go do her like astral projection to save Max. And I think Lucas is gonna be like, take me with you. And then Dustin's like, you're not going alone. And then they're gonna go in as a group, and they're gonna learn like the history of the Upside Down, and Vecna's gonna be able to fuck with them real hard in his own mind. I think Will might be a bad guy at some point.
Do you think
At
he's
least,
possessed by a bad guy, or do you think he's
at
just
least
evil?
I think he's just been affected so long that there'll be some way he and 11 go at it.
Do you think
Because
we
I
we
don't know.
realize that
I
Will
don't know.
has powers?
Yeah, I don't know if it's like it's been the whole time, and when he came back from the upside down body snatcher kind of thing, he was never Will again,
Okay.
or he was just slowly being eaten away, and like the fact that he's kind of just shunned. Him and Victor Creel, their upbringing is really similar. He's just like this. He's this outcast, right? He feels like a freak
Hmm.
because he's different, and it's like, there. It's kind of out in the open. Was Victor Creel also like closeted, like Will is? And it's like there's a lot of similarities there that I feel like Victor Creel
Victor
can
or
kind
or
of
Henry?
Henry. Sorry, Victor was Freddy Krueger. Henry Creel was closeted, and I feel like he might be able to just kind of like come on over to the dark side, right?
He might
We got
Palpatine him,
yeah.
turn him into Darth Vader.
Yeah, so I think and and just like I mean, you're gonna have Popper be a fucking badass and start killing all the demo shit that comes into Hawkins, right?
Hmm.
There's probably gonna be like a Red Dawn kind of like invasion of Hawkins, you'd have to imagine. And
And
then like the people of the town. I want to see Mike's dad have show some kind of spine. Like him just like get off the couch and like man, like fight. Like I think it'll be funny. I hope he gets eaten because I hate his dad. But anyway,
I think
but my
most of the
big
people in Hawkins are probably like you already see them leaving. So like the town's going to be like
true.
a ghost
It's
town in
also
season
true.
5, which will give them more to play with in terms of like
Yeah,
having the upside down
yeah,
invade the town and not have it be like ridiculous, you know?
yeah. Like the cops from Dark Knight Rises that were left over, like kind of like slink in between buildings and
Mm,
or having like their own kind of secret passageways to avoid because supposedly there's going to be a time jump. So like
okay.
I don't know how you
Yeah,
deal with
because
that unless
they're like that age where they're going to be fucking huge. They're already huge, but they're going to be even more
yeah,
huge the next time we see them.
yeah. Will's like, oh man, ninth grade so hard. But I think the big one is that Eddie's still alive and they can keep him alive two ways. I think the lesser likely of the two is that he never died. And Dustin knows that. That's why nobody's really affected by his death, right? You don't see Mike or Nancy or Steve kind of like react to it, even though it was like 2 days later. Dustin is the only sad one because he had to go and lie to his uncle, lie to the only person that he had in his life, right? He had like now Eddie has nobody but them.
You think he's
Um,
alive in the real world?
I think he's like witness protection, like from that government agency that brought Hop back, like that he's alive somewhere, back to tank Luke Skywalker style, like resting, but like because he like you said he can't go back to real life,
Yeah.
so he had to basically fake his own death. The Duffer Brothers said the Demobats aren't lethal, they can't kill.
Yeah, but when there's,
There's an army of them, yeah.
30 of them pecking away at
Yeah.
you.
So that's the least cool theory. The next one Kevin hit right on the head is Cast the Bloody Handed. If you remember in the D&D game in the beginning, Cast the Bloody Handed was the one that they all thought killed Vecna. He was his right-hand man. He's this half vampire person who Vecna turned and
Okay.
is using. And then at the last second, he turned on him, right? And then if he's this half vampire, how does a vampire get turned by a bat? So I think that he's going to be like Vecna's lieutenant. And at some point, that's going to be the Vader Palpatine thing. Just, you know, he sees Dustin, turns back, one last act of valor, both die. kind of thing.
I think that makes
But
a lot of
they're just
sense.
so heavy on the D&D stuff
Yeah,
and foreshadowing. They fucking love their foreshadowing. That I think they're telling us exactly what they're gonna do, and they're just like, if you here, go look for it. Because and either way, even if that wasn't the case, Eddie's so popular that they might even bring him back, right? Because Bob, the likable character who died in 2, he wasn't
yeah,
that popular. The Russian dude in 3, all right, he wasn't that popular. But Eddie's got this whole cult following with him, so I think like they can bring him back.
I agree. Cult following, no
Ke-
pun intended.
Kevin asked, what's a cool song that Eddie can come back to? What metal song do you think plays when he fucking?
Oh man, they could probably go back to some type of Metallica song. I'm trying to think. I when he was dying, I was upset that they didn't play
You don't
Ozzy.
think there's like a um uh, an Iron Maiden song that they would play?
Um, Let me get back to you on that one because I'm an extensive Iron Maiden fan, but my mind is just drawing a blank right now. Power Slave,
I'm just
maybe. Actually, Power Slave would work if if he is the right hand man. And he's
legacy.
under his
I'm
spell.
just looking at Iron Maiden songs. Be Quick or Be Dead.
Yeah, that's from the '90s though.
Oh, okay.
Um, so it would have to fit with the theme. But I was upset that they didn't play Ozzy Osbourne and Lita Ford "Close My Eyes Forever," which is like a power ballad from the '80s. I was like, that would have
Well, they
been the
have to.
perfect song for him to die to. It would have been a little corny though, I guess. So I guess that's why they didn't choose that one.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see Eddie's triumphant return so bad. But that scene with yeah, Kevin said Ozzy songs work because of the bats.
Yeah, exactly. That works too.
Yeah, but that whole scene with Metallica was so fucking cool.
It was great.
Like they nailed everything about it. But Dev said "Holy Diver" by Dio.
Holy Diver could work. Yeah. I don't know though.
Trying to think.
I don't know if that would fit.
Yeah, he would have to be like not a vampire, right? Vampires are evil. Are there any like vampire 80 songs? Vampire
There's
metal
probably a bunch of
songs
like King Diamond,
80s.
which is black metal songs that could play, but I feel like no one's really gonna know them, so I don't know if they'd do that. Because you have to have something that people are at least gonna somewhat know. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and I
Metallica was like,
feel like '80s thrash is probably which would be Metallica and maybe like Megadeth and Iron Maiden stuff like that
yeah,
would be what they would play. The
yeah.
Number of the Beast that could totally work.
Top 80s metal songs. I could type. Living on a Prayer, bunch of.
Oh God, no! Please no. Ugh, jeez.
Yeah, I just don't know what
I
would
mean,
be like popular with the Netflix crowd,
Rain and
right?
Blood.
You'd have to. Yeah, that might be too heavy though.
Yeah, I'm looking up. Let me see, because I'm trying to think of like what else would fit.
I mean, I have faith in that they'll
Among the
figure it
Living
out.
from Anthrax works.
They should just play Thriller and call it a day.
What do you think is gonna happen with Nancy and Jonathan? Does Nancy wind up with Steve?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
There's
I think
no
so too.
shot that they don't end up together. They hinted it way too much, and Nancy and Jonathan don't have chemistry this season. So I think that
No, not at
was
all.
yeah. I mean, Steve was always saying he was like, "Oh, I want 6 kids and the whole life," but he's got 6 kids already.
That's
He's
true.
got all of
Yeah.
the kids. Well, now he's got to take care of Max in the hospital. But
Does she? Do you think they're gonna leave her blind for the next season?
um, I think that would make it interesting because like they don't really take too many risks with the main characters. It's always like,
It's
here's this new character we worked real hard to make likable. They died. We killed them.
That is true.
It's really a compliment to them that they could continually write all of these characters that are so fucking likable. And you're like, I'm done getting attached to these new characters. And then
So
they come in and you're like,
what if we take your theory, right, where Will also has powers, he becomes kind of
yeah.
evil, and 11 has to fight him, and then
Oh yeah.
that is not only the bridge between them, but also now a bridge between Hopper and Joyce.
Joyce. I think 11 is toast.
You think so?
Kevin goes, I guess Max won't be running up that hill anytime soon. That's rough. But I think 11 is going to do the ultimate sacrifice kind of thing. And she's going to be in the upside down and fucking destroy it while she's in it. And I don't know if that frees
and
Will.
then we'll get some subtle stinger at the end to let us know that she's alive somewhere.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I think that Mike is going to have to choose between Will and 11. Like, not to the point where it's like, one has to die. But I think that, like, he's going to see Will, he's going to see 11, and they're going to be battling it out. And it's going to be a tough decision for him. But I think Elle is going to be like, halfway through the breach or whatever, and she's just going to put her hands out and scream like she does. And I think it's going to shatter the upside down, or at least suck the upside down back in and close the breach. And then she's going to get trapped on the other side or something like that.
I can see
So
that happening.
she's going to destroy the upside. Well,
2 daughters.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you can.
He'll kill himself.
No, he'll be all right. He has Joyce. Yeah, no, but I don't think 11 makes it out. No shot.
And then in 20 years, when Millie Bobby Brown is 40, we'll get the
We'll
get the reboot. Yeah,
the It Chapter 2
the
kind of
reboot
thing,
of the
where they come back as
Stranger
themselves.
Things.
Yeah, she plays Joyce.
Yeah.
No, but I would honestly be shocked if she makes it out, because like she just has that martyr air about her, because she's like all powerful, and there's like, how else are you gonna do it? You're just gonna kill Vecna and the Mind Flayer? The Mind Flayer is fucking huge.
Yeah,
And I don't
that's
think you
probably
kill
the
the
only
Mind
way
Flayer.
to do it.
I think you just trap them in there. I think Vecna can die. He got Michael Myers too.
He did.
Like, I really wish somebody said I shot him 6 times after he fell out of the window and disappeared.
What a couple of years ago we had news that we were going to get a spin-off, which I haven't heard anything about since then.
I just saw something on Twitter that they said it's going to be completely different. It's not going to have any of the characters. It's just going to be.
We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it.
No, we don't.
I can't see what they're. I don't want it. I don't want it.
I can't see what they would even make it about.
Well, remember that one episode? It was either season 2 or season 3. I think it was season 2.
8?
Yeah,
Yeah,
which was probably the worst episode of the whole series.
Yeah,
and I think that was setting up the spinoff of all these like kids with powers on the run.
Yeah, but I think that they canned that so fast that I don't think that they'll make a spinoff of that. They literally don't mention it at all.
I know. That's why I'm like, do you think this is still happening? Because I remember they mentioned the spinoff. We got that episode. I'm like, well, this is what we're getting, and this is awful.
Yeah, I don't. I would rather a fucking police procedural with young Hopper than that.
That has nothing to do with the Upside Down.
No,
it's just
young Hop coming this fall.
A cop show.
Yeah, Hop the Cop coming this fall to Netflix. Dustin. Kevin says Dustin in college.
I'd watch that.
I'll take that too.
I would take that also.
Dusty goes to college. Dusty and Susie tackle college. Or just it's like Robin and Steve, and they get a job at the beginning of each episode and get fired from that job at the end of each episode, and they just have to keep getting new jobs.
They're just job hunting.
They just different jobs in the mall. They just keep going through each shop at the mall.
It's a sitcom with a laugh track.
Yeah. Yeah, I would take that. I fucking hate sitcoms.
Me too.
Kevin and Susie and Dusty go to BYU. Definitely.
Well, that's all I have for my questions.
Yeah,
And for my theories, I didn't really dig deep, but I knew you would.
yeah.
So,
I'll do the heavy
yeah.
lifting. Don't worry.
Scott, is there anything else you want to say about Stranger Things season 4?
No, out of 10, what would you give it?
I would give it an 8.6.
I was gonna give it a 9. 9 fat hops out of 10.
Yeah, I would give it an 8.6.
Only I would only dig it just because it just felt like in places it could have been a little more focused. But I love these characters so much now that I don't care. Give me whatever.
Yeah,
Just not
I
a
agree.
spinoff. Of
I
stupid
could
shit. But
I
I don't
could
think-
be talked into probably giving it a 9. I
yeah,
agree.
I think everybody was just so well written that anytime you spent with the characters was a good time,
Mhm.
regardless of its narrative thrust. That would be a great name for a library /strip club. Narrative thrust.
Rank the
Um,
seasons from best to worst.
4-1-3-2.
Wow, you're still putting 4 over 1, huh?
Yeah, it's recent. It might be recency bias, but I really really liked it. Just
I
because
would
the world building of 4 made 1 better, and that's why I snuck it right above. But they're close. They're very close.
Okay. Yeah, I would go 1-4-3-2.
And I wouldn't argue with that. I could see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think after
Especially
5 comes out, I think I'll just do a whole rewatch
Yeah.
of the whole series again. Because like
I mean, it's coming out in 2 years, so I'm doing the
That's
rewatch
true.
now, and I'll do a rewatch whenever it comes out.
the
What do you want, Bruce? Jesus Christ. Freaking out.
see, there's like things about 2 and 3 that like I don't even remember really what happens in a lot of it. And I have to kind of go back and whatever. But it's also because at the time, I watched it and I was like, this is fine, but it wasn't great. It was it was good.
They are very three's really good. Kevin said 3-4-1-2, and he only binge watched one each in one sitting each time. So I think if you do go back, you take your time, you watch a couple episodes here and there, and you work your way through. 3 is really good. I watched 3 before 4, and it was really good. 2 isn't even as
Well, I would
bad
hope
as I
so.
remember. Yeah. But 2
No,
isn't
it's
even as
not.
bad
I
as
just think
remember.
it's like
It's the weakest.
easily the weakest of the 4.
It has the most charming Halloweeny episodes in it, so it has extra points for me. Where they dress up like Ghostbusters and stuff. But yeah, I honestly think it's just a top notch, one of those must see, doesn't come around too often kind of shows. There's like
Yeah.
it's in the upper echelon of pop culture shows.
Agreed. Yeah, it's definitely one of those heavy hitter shows.
Yeah, hits me right in the sweet spot too. It's all vintage Halloween scary shit. Like, all right, write a show more specifically for me, please. Thank you.
And like 80s done right, but not overuse of the 80s. Not
Yeah,
like, look
or
at this
not
thing.
no use of
Like,
80, or not no use of the 80s at all. Like looking
Like-
at you, Wonder Woman.
like
84.
Wonder Woman 84. Yeah. We're in a mall. Now here's the rest of the movie with no 80s soundtrack.
We are
or
in the Middle
anything
East
about the
somewhere. Where apparently the 80s didn't happen in the Middle East. It's just a mall, and then we're in the Middle East.
All right. I think that's gonna do it for us. Thank you for joining us on this Spoilercast. I gotta watch
We'll
The
be
Boys this
co-oping soon.
weekend, so we can do The Boys
Spoilercast
next week. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that.
I haven't watched
2 in a row,
single
man.
episode
2 in a row.
in
We're
in season 3 yet. So yeah, you have to watch
Yeah.
Umbrella Academy, so we can talk about that. Too.
Okay. You binge watch all of The Boys. I'll binge watch Umbrella Academy.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm all about that.
All
All
right.
right, Scott. I'll see you later, and we will see you guys next week.
Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. See you later. Bye, y'all. Love you. Where's the button? Stop streaming. There it is. See ya.